All right, let's unlock the code to sounding like a true English speaker. You ready?
I'm ready. What's the secret code?
It's phrasal verbs. We are diving deep today with help from the Spoken Legends episode. They did a great job breaking these down.
Yeah, they had some really good examples, really practical stuff.
Exactly. You know, those tricky combinations that native speakers use all the time, like deal with, pick up, run into, things like that.
It can be tough to get the hang of, but once you do, you sound so much more natural.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Spoken Legends emphasizes learning them in context.
Which makes so much sense. It's like you wouldn't just memorize a toolbox to become a carpenter.
Exactly. You need to see the tools in action. So first up, deal with.
Oh, a classic. We all deal with things every day.
Right. Like right now, we're dealing with this topic.
Exactly. But seriously, how would you describe deal with in simple terms?
Well, it's about how you handle something, especially something difficult or challenging.
Perfect. Like, I'm dealing with a ton of emails right now. Or, she's really good at dealing with difficult customers.
Exactly. And Spoken Legends gives the example, we need to deal with this issue quickly.
It shows that sense of action, right?
Absolutely. It's about taking charge, finding a solution, not just ignoring the problem.
Okay, so give me a situation. How would you use deal with?
Let's see. Imagine your friend is telling you about a stressful situation at work.
Okay, got it. What would they say?
They could say something like, ugh, I had to deal with a really demanding client today. It was exhausting.
It definitely conveys that sense of facing a challenge head on.
Exactly. And, deal with doesn't have to be negative. Like you could say, I'm excited to deal with this new project.
Right. It just means you're taking it on, you're handling it. All right, I think we've dealt with deal with pretty well, don't you think?
I think so. Ready to pick up the next one?
Hit me with it.
It's pick up.
Oh, this one is tricky because it has so many different meanings.
Right, like literally picking something up, like pick up that book.
Yeah, nice and straightforward. But then there are the more figurative meanings, like picking up a new skill.
Yes, like I picked up some Spanish while traveling.
Exactly. Spoken Legends uses that example too. She picked up French while living in Paris. It sounds so much more natural than she learned French.
It does, and it makes it seem effortless, like you just absorbed it.
Totally. Okay, your turn. Give me a situation where you'd use pick up.
All right, imagine you're running errands, and you need to grab a few things for a party.
Okay, I can see where this is going.
You might text your friend and say, hey, could you pick up some snacks and drinks on your way over?
Perfect. So we've got the physical picking up there, but how about a less literal example?
Okay, imagine you're talking about learning a new hobby.
Got it.
You can say, I recently picked up pottery,
Yeah.
and it's so relaxing.
I love that. It shows you're actively engaging in the learning process.
Exactly. And it implies a sense of enjoyment, too.
Pick up is so versatile.
Okay, let's move on. This one is all about those unexpected encounters, good or bad.
I think I know which one you're talking about. Let me guess. Run into.
You got it, run into.
It's like you're walking down the street and bam, you run into someone you know.
Or you're working on a project and bam, you run into a problem.
Exactly. It's that element of surprise. Sometimes it's a pleasant surprise, sometimes not so much.
Right. Spoken Legends uses the example, be careful not to run into trouble. It's like a warning.
It is. Like, watch out, you might encounter something tricky. Okay, let's try a scenario. You tell me about a time you ran into someone unexpectedly.
Okay, let's see. A few weeks ago, I was at the grocery store, just minding my own business, and guess who I ran into?
Oh, I love these stories. Who was it?
This is my old college roommate. We hadn't seen each other in years. It was such a fun surprise.
I bet. Okay, now how about a run-into situation that's not so positive?
All right, imagine you're planning a trip and things aren't going smoothly. You could say, we're running into some issues with booking flights. Everything is so expensive.
Ugh, I hate when that happens. It definitely captures that sense of hitting an unexpected snag.
Right, it's like, oh no, what now?
Okay, so we've dealt with some stuff, picked up some new knowledge, and run into a few challenges.
I'm loving this phrasal verb journey. What's next?
Time to put on our thinking caps because next up we're gonna figure out. It's a good one.
It is. Like, we're trying to figure out how to use these phrasal verbs perfectly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're like detectives searching for clues.
I like that analogy. But seriously, how would you explain figure out?
Well, it's all about understanding something, like solving a puzzle.
So when you finally understand something you've been struggling with, you've figured it out.
Exactly. Like, remember that time we were trying to put together that bookshelf from,
But don't remind me the instructions were impossible.
Exactly. But eventually we figured it out.
We did, and it felt so good, like a huge weight lifted off our shoulders.
Right. And that's what Spoken Legends talks about, too. They use the example, I'm trying to figure out how this machine works. We've all been there.
Oh, totally. Especially with technology these days. Sometimes it feels like you need a degree in computer science just to use a coffee maker.
Uh-huh, so true. Okay, your turn. Give me a situation where you would use figure out.
Let's see. Okay, imagine you lost your keys.
Lost keys, classic problem, and
You'd be searching high and low, retracing your steps, trying to figure out where you last had them.
perfect. You're trying to solve the mystery of the missing keys. But it doesn't have to be about a physical object.
Oh, right, like figuring out a math problem or figuring out the best route to take to avoid traffic.
Exactly. Figure out is all about using your brain power to find a solution. And sometimes you need help from others to figure things out.
Oh, absolutely. Like when you're working on a group project, you have to figure out how to divide the tasks, how to communicate effectively.
And how to get along with each other, which is our next phrasal verb.
You read my mind. I was just going to say that. All right, let's dive into get along with. Yeah. All right, get along with. It's all about relationships. You know, like who you vibe with, who you click with.
Exactly. It's about having a good rapport with someone, a sense of harmony.
And Spoken Legends kicks things off by talking about siblings. Some get along, some don't.
Oh, totally. I mean, sibling relationships can be super complex.
They can. But Spoken Legends focuses on the positive side. Like siblings who support each other, who have fun together, who just get each other.
Right. It's that effortless connection, that sense of ease.
Like me and my sister. We've always gotten along really well, even though we're totally different.
That's great. And it shows that getting along isn't about being exactly alike. It's about respecting and appreciating those differences.
Totally. And it's not limited to families, right?
Of course not. You can get along with friends, colleagues, neighbors.
Right. Like think about work. Getting along with your coworkers can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. It creates a more positive and productive environment.
And Spoken Legends emphasizes that it's not just about being buddy-buddy with everyone.
Yeah, they talk about how it's also about professionalism and mutual respect.
Exactly. Like even if you don't hang out with your colleagues outside of work, you can still get along with them by communicating effectively, being reliable, and respecting their boundaries.
Right. It's about creating a harmonious and productive working relationship. Okay, your turn. Give me a scenario. How would you use get along with in a sentence?
Okay, imagine you're introducing a new friend to your group.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
You could say something like, "Hey everyone, this is Sara. I think you guys will really get along with her. She's got a great sense of humor."
Love it. It expresses that hope for a positive connection. And it highlights how get along with is often used to talk about compatibility and shared interest.
Exactly. Okay, but let's be real. Sometimes you don't get along with everyone. Like what if you have a difficult coworker? That's tricky.
You could say, I'm trying my best to get along with my new coworker, but we just have really different work styles. It definitely captures that sense of trying to make things work despite challenges.
Right. But sometimes, despite your best efforts, you just clash. And that's okay.
Totally. Not everyone is meant to be best friends, and sometimes learning to navigate those tricky relationships is part of growing as a person.
So true. Well, I think we've really gotten along with these phrasal verbs today.
We have. We've dealt with the challenges, picked up some new knowledge, won into a few surprises, figured out the meanings, and explored the importance of getting along with others. It's been quite a journey.
It has, and just like Spoken Legends said, learning these phrasal verbs can really help you sound more like a native speaker.
Exactly. They're like the secret sauce to fluent and natural English. So to everyone listening, keep an ear out for these phrasal verbs in real-life conversations.
And don't be afraid to try using them yourself. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become.
Exactly. So go out there, experiment, and have fun with it. Who knows? You might even pick up a few new phrasal verbs along the way.
Thanks for joining us on this phrasal verb adventure. Until next time, happy language learning, everyone.
Happy learning!